Congressional Republicans have hit a new low, now blaming the government shutdown on everyday Americans, saying this weekend's No Kings protests are somehow prolonging the stalemate on Capitol Hill. Now, over the past week, Trump officials and elected Republicans have blasted protesters as Marxists, pro-Hamas, America-hating, and a whole lot worse. But as I write for MSNBC.com, the protesters are not radicals, nor are they a dangerous threat except to those who seek to strangle freedom of speech. They are citizens who refuse to accept authoritarianism as the new normal. Joining us now is Democratic Congressman James Clyburn of the great state of South Carolina.
Congressman, it is so good to have you on. The numbers are supposed to be huge this weekend for this rally, for this protest. This is an administration that is avowedly anti-protest, especially when it is protest of their administration. Do you think they allow these rallies, these gatherings to go on unimpeded?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I certainly hope so. Protest is what this country's always been about. We were born out of a protest. That's what was taking place at the so-called Boston Tea Party. Throughout the entire history of the country, it has been people exercising their First Amendment rights that have brought issues to the forefront. And for people to look at this kind of a protest and say that it's an expression of hate for America. Did Rosa Parks hate America? Did Martin Luther King Jr. hate America? Did those of us who struck out along with John Lewis back in 60? Were we hating America? Or were we trying to bring to the forefront those things that needed to happen in order for the United States of America to live out its true creed? And so that's all that's going on here. People are expressing their opinion about this administration, and just because it's not complimentary, they see it as hate, or shall we say, terrorism. It's just crazy.
It is also wild, Jackie, to hear Republicans smear Americans who want to protest as being Marxist, as being pro-Hamas, when all they are is anti this administration. Your question.
I personally have sort of struggled to make the connection that Republicans are trying to make right now between the protests and the shutdown. But on the topic of this shutdown, Congressman, John Thune, Majority Leader, went on MSNBC this morning with our Ali Vitali and basically offered Democrats a vote on extending Obamacare subsidies. That would happen so long as Democrats agreed to open the government. Is this an agreement that House Democrats will go with and agree to?
Well, everything has to be looked at with the particulars. We always say that the devil is in the details. To cast off an expression, I was up this morning. I don't know why I got up that early, and I saw him in real time. And I am appreciative that it was repeated in the first part of Morning Joe, because I wanted people to see that whole thing. This is not about just one issue. This is about health care. When you're cutting all of the money or significant portions of the money out of Medicaid, and when you put Medicare under threat, and then when you do not allow the tax credits that come along with the Affordable Care Act that makes it affordable, then it's more than just one issue. And so just to say you're going to allow a vote to take place if we stop protesting, then that's a problem for me. So we're not going to give up our rights to bring to the American people exactly what the issues are involved here and what has come about because of this so-called, what I call big ugly bill. That is something we're going to keep before the American people, and we're not going to give that up on a promise of a vote.
There you go. because I'm telling you, if you think that, okay, we're going to give you the necessary votes to open the government, and then on the back end, we guarantee that we're going to have a vote on the things you want, Democrats. Okay, y'all are stupid if you buy that one, because I can tell you that's not how this is going to play out. And it's good to hear you say that, Congressman. And it begs the question for me on a broader scale about the rising level of resistance relative to what we're about to see this weekend, and what that is saying. And more importantly, the reaction of Republicans to it. Talk a little bit about what you think the American people are finally beginning to signal to this administration. Yes, you had the No Kings vote, the No Kings rallies a few months ago, but this one feels different. This one seems to settle differently with the American people. What are you picking up in South Carolina? How are Republicans even in your state looking at this administration and what these protests may actually be saying?
I think people are beginning to see exactly what is going on here. You know, it's one thing for people to express alternative, even alternative facts, but it's something else when you begin to lay out an autocracy. You are beginning, and people are beginning to see that this administration is not about fairness. That's what they fear. They fear fairness. They fear freedom. You know, they fear, when I say that, Michael, I sometimes rely on my biblical background. What's that? The book of John, I think it was John, that we find, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And that's what they fear, the truth. They fear the facts. And the facts are beginning to get through to the American people that this is not about anything but making your lives more miserable. We have price points coming out of this. We have pain points coming out of this. And when people see what it's going to cost for them to get the kind of health care that they've been getting for the last several years. We have one couple here in South Carolina that's gotten a number that goes from around $50 a month to over $2,000 if this goes away.
Yeah, no, people are talking about those premiums, and your colleagues who are going home are hearing about those premiums. I do have to ask you really quick before we have to go, Congressman, just in the last hour, there was this op-ed by Representative Ralph Norman, who, of course, is running for governor in your state in a very crowded Republican field. Trump should lean on South Carolina to eliminate Jim Clyburn's district. What would you like to say to Representative Norman?
Well, I understand that Ralph Norman's father left him a little bit of wealth. I wish he had left him a little bit of gray matter. I think that Ralph is always looking for attention. The fact of the matter is, South Carolina has 7 congresspeople, and only one of them is a Democrat. The Democrats carry about 45% of the vote in every election here. So why is it that Democrats are not fairly represented in our congressional delegation? We are about 28% African American in South Carolina, yet with 1 out of 7, it means that we only 14% of the representation. They fear fairness. Ralph Norman does not have the capacity to exist with fairness. He wants the whole game to be rigged in his favor, and that way he feels he can be successful. If he was so sure of himself, why not have fairness in the process? He wants the president to lean on the South Carolina legislature to take fairness out of the process and rig it in favor of his candidacy for governor. Ain't gonna happen.